Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Iron Bark podcast. I am your host, Epion, and today we are going to talk about the Cybertruck delivery event. It was an okay event. I got some things to say about it, and you're going to listen to it. So here it is. So the delivery went okay. I think it was decent. Um, so some cool things to note about it. So they showed the Cybertruck drag race against a Porsche 911. The Cybertruck won the drag race. And funny enough, it was kind of interesting, it was kind of cool. The Cybertruck was actually towing a Porsche 911 itself, and the Porsche 911 that was being towed, I think technically crossed the finish line before the Porsche 911 that was racing the Cybertruck. So that's kind of funny. The other cool thing that they showed, another demonstration of, it was like a video demonstration, was a tractor pull contest, and the Cybertruck won that event, or was the most effective out of the trucks they demonstrated it with, which is a cool little thing. Like you see that a lot at truck shows and events where people compete for prize money. Most of the time, those people end up breaking their trucks and losing money, but nonetheless, maybe we'll see people with Cybertrucks doing that sort of thing. One thing that was kind of lame that I thought was going to be cool was they mentioned the metal ball that they threw at the window at the original announcement event in 2019. They threw the ball at it. Everyone remembers the glass shattered. It was a thing, but it was kind of like a viral news thing. So it was actually kind of, I think, beneficial. They said they were going to redo it. So Lars came out. This time he had a baseball instead of a metal ball, which not as cool. Okay, he throws the ball at it. He kind of misses the first time. He throws it again, hits the window, but he kind of just lobs it at it. The window doesn't break, but once again, it wasn't the same because it wasn't a metal like ball bearing. And then Elon went on to say like, oh, the glass is still really strong. It's rock proof, and it won't, the chips won't spread, type of thing. And then he said, oh, a professional like pitcher could probably throw that and not break it. And I mean, professional pitchers throw like what, upwards of like 90 miles per hour. So if that's true, that's pretty huge. I don't think glass can actually be that strong though, for safety reasons. So in a lot of jurisdictions, you'll notice that tint on window is illegal, but usually only under the circumstance where it's a film. Because if you get into a rollover car accident and like firefighters need to come save you or something, they got to smash that open. They got to break that. If the glass is so strong that you can't be retrieved from the vehicle during a rollover or collision and I need to pull you out and I need to smash that glass, that could present as an issue. And there is a lot of glass on that vehicle, so it's hard to say if that would ever really become an issue because it's hard to imagine that all of that would remain intact in a collision, but who knows? It would all depend. So they may have had to go with weaker glass. I'm not entirely sure about that whole part of it. But if they did go with weaker glass, it would make sense for safety reasons, as you see the rear view mirrors also on the Cybertruck now when the original prototype did not have them. And that's because of safety regulations and stuff like that. Although it is worth mentioning that the UK, you don't need them. You can use cameras, so that might change in the future in North America. What else do we have here? It was cool seeing Elon like be personable and open the doors for people who bought the truck and like, escorting them to the vehicle and tell them like thank you or congratulations and sort of taking photo ops with people. That's super cool of him. That's awesome to see, like, richest man in the world kind of just being humble and kind and thankful. The first releases of the truck had some cool little details to note. So I don't know if it's etched in on the back of the truck or on the side of the truck, but it says it's like laser etched in, like just very faintly. It says foundation. So it's like the foundation line, the foundation series. I like that. I love that kind of stuff. And then there's the top model is called, I think it's called a Cyber Beast. You'll notice on the back tailgate, you'll see a three-headed beast, like its head. You'll just see like three heads, and it kind of just looks like three wolves. You can Google it or whatever, look it up online. You'll probably see it. It's pretty neat. I like that stuff too. One thing that did kind of suck a little bit for me was I wanted to see more of the Cyber ATV that was at the original announcement in 2019. And it was kind of like a really cool novelty they brought at the end. Oh yeah, we made an ATV, and they wheeled that out. So there's a few things to note about this. The truck bed is technically a little bit smaller. So at the original announcement, they said 6.5 feet. Now they're saying it's 6. but it might actually be smaller than 6 because at the event there were some content creators and stuff that were noted laying in the bed and they were posting on X, and they were under 6 feet themselves. They were like maybe 5'10", 5'11", something around there, 5 something, and they were laying flat in the bed, and you couldn't close the gate on them. Like their feet would be hanging over into the tailgate area. So I'm thinking it's more of a 5.8 foot bed, but nonetheless, it looked like in the videos and stuff that you could still put an 8 foot long plywood or drywall into the back bed as long as the gate was down, and it didn't seem like they were overhanging in any of the videos that they showed. So that's okay. That still makes it okay for a work vehicle. You're just going to need straps and stuff like that. But the concern is that in the original announcement in 2019 of the Cybertruck, when they rolled that ATV into the back, it basically just fit. So if they've made that smaller, that would mean that this ATV won't fit in the back of it anymore, or the ATV is also being made slightly smaller, which is a possibility. Another thing to note is that in the original prototype in 2019 on the Cybertruck, there was actually like a ramp that extended out from the tailgate, so you could drive the Cyber ATV up into the bed of the truck. That doesn't appear to be that doesn't appear to be present anymore, and you can actually buy separate tracks that go up there on the website. You would need 2 of them, and they're $400 each. So I think that's what they decided to take that out to save some money, and that's where they kind of like cut the cost and cut weight on it a bit. It was mentioned back in 2019 that it would be a package option with the truck, but there was no sight of it at the event. So either no one ordered it or it wasn't available, and maybe it's possibly on back order. Another nitpick: it was a delivery event, so I shouldn't have that high of an expectation or wants or pie in the sky wants or whatever. But there was no Tesla bot update either. So, but I don't think I can reasonably expect that at a delivery event. And then one other thing that it's kind of like my own made up pie in the sky hope and dream would be like a cyber, not a flamethrower, as sort of like a pre-order bonus or something that you could buy. I think that would, I just think of like a not a flamethrower would look super cool with the Cybertruck. So here's just some things that I like about it so far. It's got like this adjustable lift slash suspension that like auto adapts to whatever you're doing, hauling, or maybe you're going down highway or whatever. It just adjusts to be the proper height for what you're doing. And I think you can change it manually as well. There's a locker under the bed that you can use as a cooler, and you can get like a cool little novelty like bottle opener on the side of the truck bed. And there's apparently a drain, so you can do like your little tailgate parties and stuff like that. The one criticism I could make about it, I really like it, like a super cool little novelty, but we all know how coolers get over time if you don't dry them out properly and all that stuff. So that's like a little bit of a, okay, maybe. It's also got an L track on the side of the bed wall, sort of like a Sprinter van does. So that's a super cool little addition. It's got bi-directional charging, so you can charge your truck, or you can use your truck to charge other things, or you can even use it for tools or whatever. So that's super awesome. That's super neat. They showed that at the 2019 announcement with the ATV. Another cool little novelty is it's bulletproof, which I think I remember Elon saying that's sort of just a byproduct of like the cold rolled steel. It wasn't necessarily something he intended to do, but it's like a awesome little byproduct of it. Now, I just want to be clear that I do have this pre-ordered, and I have had it pre-ordered since November of 2019. So it's been like 4 years, and I still remain intent on getting this vehicle. But so I am going to be kind of critical of a few things in here, but I don't want you to think I'm a hater. I'm not. I actually really do like this vehicle. It's just that for me, it's going to be more of a sports car than it would be a work vehicle. So you can't see out the rear view when the tonneau cover is down. And when it's up, it costs 10% in range. So you're going to lose a bit of your battery range on there when you have it up. So that stands the reason that when you're hauling something or moving something, you're more than likely to have that tonneau cover up, especially if it's like a fridge or couch or something like that. So You're going to lose a bit of range hauling and towing, depending. You might not. I mean, you might not have it up if you're towing, but it depends. I mean, you might want to see out the window. Who knows? But I guess you do have the cameras. So the truck bed is smaller. Yeah, I've already kind of discussed that earlier. You might, the ATV may not fit now, but maybe the ATV is smaller. No power tailgate. I mean, you can unlock it. I think you can drop it with a button, but I don't think it comes back up with a button. I'm not sure if it had that originally in the prototype at the 2019 announcement, but just a note. The back window doesn't open as well to the truck bed. It does have something cool though, 17-inch ground clearance, and it's like true 17 ground clearance because it's got a flat bottom because it's an EV. There's no underworking there. Now I just want to compare some of the announcement details to the delivery date announcement. So we have the original announcement in 2019, like the unveiling, and then we have the actual delivery in 2023, which was just a few days ago. And I just want to do some comparisons. And obviously there's going to be some differences here because, the pandemic did happen. The economy was changed drastically by that. So you have to reasonably expect corporations to not really be able to maintain the same pricing that they had announced before that stuff happened. So I do have some forgiveness and leeway on this, and I'm not being super judgmental on it. But there is some stuff to note, and yeah, so I'm just going to get into it. So the base model, the rear wheel drive model, it was originally announced at $39K. It's now $60K, so that's a $20K increase in price. It is the same range. It was announced at 250 miles, and its towing is 7,500 pounds, and I think that's the same as well. And its payload was 3,500. Now it's to be announced. So I imagine it might be less if they don't know, and they just didn't want to post that. I'm not sure why that's not it's being delivered and we don't know the stats yet. That's kind of interesting, right? Like why they would kind of keep that information or not have that information. So then there was the all-wheel drive model. It was originally a 300-mile range. Now it's 340 miles, which is an improvement, so that's good. So this isn't all bad. Its payload was 3,500. It's now 2,500, so that's 1,000 less. Its towing was originally 10K. Now it's 11K. So that's also an improvement. It was originally 49K, but it's now 79K. So that's a 30K increase. That's a significant increase, but you are getting some slightly better stuff, just less payload. And then there was like the tri-motor / beast model, which was the high-end model. It was originally stated to be 450 mile range to 500 mile range. It's now 320 miles, significantly less. Its payload was originally 3,500. Now it's to be announced, according to the Tesla website. It did have 14K towing. Now it's 11K towing, and that's in pounds, obviously. And it was 69K. Now it's 99K, aka 100,000, which is a significant increase. So yeah, those are the main comparable differences between the announcement date and the delivery date, which is 4 years apart. And 20K on the base model, 30K on the mid range, and then another 30K on the top model. And the base model isn't going to be out until 2025. So it stands to reason that price may even go up again, which I hope it doesn't. And I mean, originally in the 2019 announcement event, they said, once you pre-order, you're locked into that price. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be able to be faithful on that. But I mean, I hope they're faithful on this announcement one, since they couldn't be on the original one. What else do we have here? What else do I want to say? Oh, it originally seated 6 people. Now it's only 5. There used to be like a side. Okay, this was just concept art. This wasn't on a prototype, but there used to be like a storage compartment on the side of the bed, like above it on the triangle on the outside. There was like a compartment that they were like conceptualizing. That never happened. I can't even really complain about that because that was only concept art. Autopilot was originally supposed to be standard. I don't know if that's still true or not. I couldn't find any information on it. I imagine it's probably an add-on, an optional add-on, probably around 10,000. The original model also had door handles. Now it doesn't. Many people have mentioned that there's a possible issue with icing. I live in a colder region, and icing can be pretty difficult to even get your regular car door open, even with a handle. They say up to an inch thick of ice. Now, I don't like, are they appreciating like an inch thick of ice, not just around the like completely sealing the door? And then is that door going to be powerful to pop that all open? If it's like encased, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. They say it is. So we'll see about that. And a lot of people are very skeptical about that. If there was a door handle option, I would personally get it. And the steering wheel isn't a yoke anymore. It seems to be more of like a wheel yoke. It's like still a full wheel, not really a full yoke. And yeah, that's pretty much all the differences that I noticed. Can't really say that I noticed anything else, but I think that's pretty comprehensive. And yeah, overall, I still think it's a really cool vehicle. I don't think it'll really have like the ability to be a true work vehicle. Obviously, you're losing. So when you're hauling or towing, you're probably going to lose 10% right off the hop from having the tonneau open. Now, you factor in a bunch of weight onto that vehicle, you're probably going to lose another percentage of the mileage on that vehicle or its range. Could you do a full day's work hauling and towing and all that kind of stuff? It seems relatively unlikely. So the distance to the work site, if it's a remote one, then the distance back home, plus working around the job site, going for lunch, and let's say there is no charging stations at all, it doesn't seem likely. And if you want to use it for your tools and stuff, to power your tools, I don't know. And then they say, well, you can get a battery pack extender. Well, I was looking at it. It looks like it takes up 1/3 of the bed. So you kind of lose it. If you're moving plywood or drywall, now you got it overhanging. You're putting the drywall at risk of, cracking. It's not ideal. Not really ideal. I do think it has potential to be a cool overlander to some degree, though. Like, if you're overlanding way out in the middle of nowhere, there is no charging out there either, right? Usually you have to bring extra, petrol cans with you, or gasoline cans, just as a precaution. You usually see those on overlanders on the outsides, on the racks and stuff like that. In this case, like, I want to push the limits of it when I get it, when I go overlanding. And I know this might sound cringe or kind of like, oh, it's an EV, like you're still using. I would get a diesel power generator, and I would bring that with me just in case, because I don't want to get caught out in the middle of nowhere, but I definitely want to push the Cybertruck to its limits and see like how good of a charge I can get from a diesel generator, and if it's enough to let me go back home, all that kind of stuff, and like really enjoy the outdoors. It'd be interesting to see how much electricity Starlink uses with it. Like if it's just like a passive kind of thing, or if it takes a lot of energy. That's something I want to see with it as well, because I could do some cool live streaming out in the middle of nowhere with it then, and if that's the case. Basically, I would treat it as like a sports car as well. Generally speaking, like it looks really awesome. It just looks really awesome. Like there's nothing else I need to, for me, it's just like the coolest thing ever. I wanted it forever. And okay, it's a little bit more expensive, but I think I can still swing it even at a higher cost. But for me, I will definitely be looking at the base model, because I feel like anything above that, you're kind of using it for the work utility of the vehicle. Yeah, you kind of want all-wheel drive for overlanding in some cases, but it's not absolutely essential unless you're going like maybe like Baja style type of overlanding. But yeah, it seems like, if you want it as a sports car, it's kind of like a showpiece type of vehicle, the base model is your best bet. You're going to save the most money on that. Then you get into like the discussion, like, oh, is it a real truck or just a showpiece? I mean, I would have to know what its range is after like towing, or, with a big payload, and then how much use of power tools. Like, can you get a full work day out of it? If you can get a full work day out of it, okay, then it's a truck. If you can't, then it's more of like a pretty boy truck, if anything. And that's fine. Like, I don't know. I still think it's badass. It's cool. It's bulletproof, you know. And yeah, I don't know. I plan on getting it. I hope other people like keep on getting it. Like, I hope that like some of these changes and alterations that have happened to it don't deter people from wanting to get it because it's really badass. I'm gonna get the camper. There's some third party stuff out there for like a spare tire to go in the back. Looks super awesome. I think I'll probably get that as well if the price is right. There's a ton of stuff like I want to do with it. I think get some honest overlanding out of it. I think get some pretty cool pictures and stuff. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. I hope I have informed you on the Cybertruck. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Nothing nature related today, but you know what? EVs are technically saving the environment. Less pollution in the air. It's kind of better. Ties in perfectly with the podcast. Plus, I've always been, if you've been listening to this, an Elon Musk fan. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.